to show you this love is no secret, and I don't wanna keep it locked up in my heart. I need you to turn me inside out, upside down, backwards, forwards, turn around. Take this back here right now. Fill me up and pull me out. I want to feel safe within without doubt. So turn me inside out. When I get distracted, worn out and disconnected, so far from perfection, point me in your direction. Make this fire burn inside me. Only you can turn me inside out, upside down, backwards, forwards, turn around. Take this back here and now. Fill me up and pull me out. I want to feel safe within without doubt. So turn me inside out. Let me feel the change. Lay your love fall down like rain. I want your love to turn me inside out. Turn me inside, turn me
Hi everyone! I hope you guys are all doing well and had a great week. Today's story and lesson comes from Mark chapter 6 verses 30 to 44, and it's about the time Jesus fed a crowd. So Jesus' disciples were healing and teaching people, and they were working very hard, so much that they didn't have time, they didn't find time to eat. So when Jesus' disciples met up with Jesus again, they told him what they had done, and Jesus told them, let's go to a quiet place and rest for a bit. So they went on a boat, and they sailed off to a quiet place to rest. So while they were leaving, there were some people who saw Jesus and his disciples leaving, and they knew who they were. So they followed them and ran towards them and to meet with them, and they waited there until they were to come back from resting. So when Jesus and his disciples came back to land, they saw the big crowd of people waiting for Jesus to come back. And when Jesus saw them, he cared for them. He saw them, and they looked like sheep to him without a shepherd. They needed someone to help them and teach them how to live. So Jesus went to the crowd and began to teach them about many things. Jesus was teaching the crowds of people for a very long time, and soon it became nighttime and it was quite late. So the disciples, because it was late, they went up to Jesus and said, Jesus, it's getting kind of late, so you should send the people away so that they can go to a nearby village and buy some food to eat. But Jesus didn't want them to do that. Jesus said to his disciples, you give them something to eat. Now let's keep in mind that because it is a crowd of people, there were many people there. how could Jesus' disciples buy enough food to feed all of the people in the crowd? So the disciples were pretty confused. To buy enough bread for the crowd of people to eat, they would have to spend 200 denarii. 1 denarii is how much one person makes for 1 day of work. So if they wanted to buy enough bread for everyone in the crowd, that one person would have to work 200 days to have enough money to buy it. So how do you think the disciples were to feed the crowd, and how were the people in the crowd to have food like Jesus had said? Jesus asked them, "How many loaves of bread do you have?" The disciples looked, and they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 loaves of bread, and they had 1, 2 fish. Is 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish enough to feed a crowd of people? Well, the disciples didn't think so. But Jesus told them to tell everyone to sit down on the grass, and Jesus took the 5 loaves of bread and the 2 fish and looked up into heaven, blessed the food, and started to break the bread and divide the fish, and gave it to his disciples, who gave it to the people in the crowds. All of the people there ate until they were full. When they went to go collect the leftover food, they carried baskets out to collect it, and they collected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 baskets of bread and fish. Now, can you guess how many people there were in the crowd? Jesus fed over 5,000 people. There were men, women, and children there. Jesus not only taught this crowd of people how to live and who God is, but he also performed a miracle for them, feeding the crowd of people enough food to eat, to make them full, with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And not even that, he also gave them, provided enough for them to be full, and even more to collect 12 baskets full of food left over. A miracle is when an unusual event happens that God can only do, or God can only make happen. Jesus' disciples didn't believe that they could feed the crowd of people with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. But Jesus performed this miracle, showing that he is the Son of God. So that is the end of today's lesson and story. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned at least one thing from it today, and hopefully remember it throughout this week. I will see you guys next week. Bye!